This is the Suburban Auntie Asti, and I am going to start reviewing Real Housewives of Atlanta season Sweet 16. And I am already caught up to date, but I haven't been doing my commentary for any of the episodes besides just talking on the phone with friends, and they have asked me to do some commentary, so here we go. So, first thing we're going to do is I want to say this. In order for you to move forward in the direction of where Real Housewives of Atlanta is going, you have to let go of the old days of what it used to be when you had Nene, when you had Kim Zolciak, when you had Andy. This is not the same thing anymore, but it's a good change. Like, when they rebooted New York, that was not a good transition from what they had before. And I didn't even watch either one of them closely, but I could tell from watching like the reunion and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, they didn't do a good job of rebooting New York. But with Atlanta, they got it right. Like, they got it correct. Okay? They are doing everything that they're supposed to do. And I believe that the year 2025 is about exposure and exposing people like Portia, exposing people. Yeah, it needs to be done, because in order for us to get to another level in our lives, I think that we need to start seeing those major themes of how we as women conduct ourselves amongst other women, especially Black women. Like, I think that this is a wonderful season to see authenticity. That's the best thing that I can say. I'm like, even if you think that stuff is fake on the show, I do believe that there is a lot of good qualities that each and every one of the housewives, including Britt Edie, okay, including her, because there are people out there that exist that are like Britt Edie, and you don't just kick them off the show. You don't just stop being their friend. I'm telling you, like, this is a really good season. So that's why I'm delighted to watch it every week. And I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to Dr. Wigway for allowing me the opportunity to be able to profile. I'm really excited about season 16. So let's go into episode 1. So they started out the episode with Portia. And Portia started out saying that the reason why she got a divorce is because there were financial and trust issues. Okay. And then she tries to do this crocodile tears thing. And I think that even with her trying to do the crocodile tears, I think she understood that nobody was going to feel sympathy between her and Simon. I mean, you stole that lady husband, okay? There's some overlapping. There's not overlapping. It really don't matter. It's semantics at this point. I understand what she was trying to do. And I'm not going to say that I wouldn't have went down the same road that she did in the pursuit of having a financially stable man, or overly financial stable man. I mean, anyways, going on to Shamia. Shamia is fabulous, okay? She's fabulous. She is the epitome of what we want to see in a housewife to be. She's a housewife. She works at her leisure. She is big on family. She's a good friend. And she does grade A shade. I think that Shamia is probably, it's hard to say, she ain't better than Nene, but if this is going to be the new era of where Real Housewives is going, everything needs to be built around her from this day forward. She is truly that girl. I love Shamia. She really hit the lotto when it came to Gerald. That was with the whole, when she said that she blew up his bathroom the first time that she met him. Like, I will say this. I had a dude, and I'm actually going to talk about the whole situation later, but I had an African guy that I was dating. I wouldn't even say I was dating, but the first time that he spent the night over my house, he took a dump in my bathroom, and I was very offended by it. And I didn't want him to come back to my house anymore after that. And then when I had my last boyfriend, he did it on the first time he was here, and I didn't care. It's crazy, but I didn't care because I had feelings for him in a good way. With this African dude that I dated, it was just a bunch of little small things that kind of was adding up for me that I was like, I don't really like him like that. But she's the glue to the show. She really can bring everybody together. She does toe the line sometimes of being protective of Portia. We're going to see a good progression with her where we're going to see her stand out in her own. And I'm starting to see it now, but just for episode 1, you know, she's still very protective of Portia because she's like, that's my best friend. You know, you're not going to talk to me about her. I don't want to be involved in those type conversations and things like that. I think that her confessional looks are fabulous. Starting out the gate, I think they look great. Drew, I think that Ralph being in the basement is a terrible arrangement. I don't know, and I've heard of people who have had relationships where they are living still in the same home while they're going through the divorce, and it really just is not a good environment. Like, if you're going to separate, if you're going to get divorced, I do think that you need to be separate, and I do understand the wanting to still have that interaction with your children, but I think that still being in close proximity, it causes confusion. And if things are going to change, then I think the best thing is to go ahead and show what the new normal is going to look like. And hopefully it's not going to be forever where, you know, you're living in the same house. Anyways, working with Dennis is sketchy. Okay, it is sketchy, but the album is amazing. Okay, if you have not had the opportunity to listen to Drew's new album, I think that the album is really, really good. I thoroughly enjoy it. I don't think there's any song on the album that I don't like. I think all of them are great. I do think that Kenya did a good job of asking the questions that anybody would want to know, just to kind of catch up with Drew and what she's doing. And I think that her facial expressions, because we didn't get confessionals, a telltale that she knew that the Dennis and Drew situation was messy. Every look that Kelly has done thus far has been a slay. She is a 10 out of 10 fashionista. I love it. Her home, her clothes, the events that she throws, she is phenomenal with those things. I can definitely tell that the divorce is messy, especially when it turned volatile, where she has to get security, where she has to file restraining orders, and the husband not having the ability to be around his children. That's when you know things have went in a bad direction. I think that it's important that she does protect herself if she feels like it's necessary, because I have seen situations personally and just watching the news, watching documentaries, where when families separate, like sometimes either spouse can't handle it and, you know, people wind up dead. Show on FX, and I think Amanda Peet was playing it, and her husband left her for his secretary and she ended up killing him. You know, so those type of divorces can be acrimonious, and you just have to kind of watch out for that type stuff. So I'm happy that Kelly is taking the precautions because she feels like that needs to be done. Plus, you know, she's a short, petite woman, which we don't need to discredit that. That don't mean she can't hold her own, but I think that going the safe route is probably what was best. I like the fact that she did the 17 purses for her daughter's birthday. We can't really go into her finances and know what she has going on. I do believe, and I love to see Black children who are privileged. And I don't think that we see that enough. We want our kids to be so humble. You know, that's what the world wants us to think. But when you see somebody who actually has a privileged life, it's a difference. It's a difference from being entitled. It's also a difference from trying to say you have to be humbled. If you work hard and you don't want your children to have the same experience that you had, and you want to give them things that you could not have, I think that if you do it in moderation, and she also, Kelly said, you know, she's a good kid. If she's a good kid, why not reward your child for them being good? And I think that I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic, actually. Portia not doing her due diligence when it comes to Simon. That's why you're in the predicament that you're in. Like, you got to do your research. You did not do your due diligence because all you were doing was having your blinders on. You saw the house. You saw the car. You used the he's an African moniker. And then you were like, scoot. That's all you needed to know. Oh, he has this house in Costa Rica. Oh, he bought me a Rolls Royce. So therefore, I'm ready to get married. But you ain't looking to anything, not thinking that he could potentially be a scammer. You know, like, you did not care about those things. Portia was looking at dollar signs without verifying that there were dollar signs there. I think that Simon and Portia both knew what they were getting themselves into. Like, I think that Portia probably would have been perfectly fine with Simon being a scammer if she would be able to continue to live the life that she wanted to live. I think that most people will. I mean, you know, any drug cartel wife, you know, she ain't gonna tell nobody nothing. She gonna still wear her mink coat. And if her husband go to jail, her husband go to jail. But she's still going to maintain that she don't know nothing. And that's really all you need to do. Like, you know, I dated a drug dealer before, whatever. And I was just like, you told me, but you did not tell me. I don't know nothing about what you got going on. It don't bring around here. I don't want to be involved. But whatever you do for me, I'm okay with that. Britt is not real. That's the point. That's the bottom line. She's not real. I think that looking at her first confessional look, I'm not a fan of it. I think that she has like a whitewashed look around the eyelid area. I am not a fan of the lipstick color that she used. She used a pink, but it's like a Barbie pink. But it's not a nice looking pink to me. I think that I've seen better looks on Britt. She seems to be a little bit delusional and superficial. So, I mean, it is what it is. I think that she had the exposure of dating with Rick Ross. She had the exposure of being with the husband that she's with now. And so she just thinks that that's her normal. Kelly coming straight out the gate asking, did you steal that lady husband? It's okay for you to just say it. Like, don't be trying to hold it back. You did what you did, and everybody's been asking the question. I don't understand why she's getting all upset that Kelly is asking her straight out the gate. Because, I mean, Tamron Hall asked her. Candace from Potomac asked her when she was on Ultimate Girl Trip. And then production showed that when Alan and Simon were getting a divorce, they showed that it was 18 days later when Portia and Simon hooked up. I mean, when it first happened, me and my girls, we talked about it. And we were like, well, listen, you know, under the assumption he's rich, we were like, well, if she didn't scoop him up, somebody was going to scoop him up. So, I mean, why not Portia? pretty much. I mean, I was like, if I was in that predicament, if I knew a dude had it like that, and I knew that his relationship was on the downhill slope, yeah, I'd probably be waiting in line. So I don't knock the hustle. I just think that Portia just needs to be honest, and it's okay. Like, it's okay. Like, I think a lot of us would do the same thing. So it's cool. I think that it was interesting that the conversation between Britt, Kelly, and Shamia, where they were talking at that dinner setting, they focused more and they were way more vocal about Drew and Dennis than they were about Portia and Simon. Like, they, it was, oh yeah, Dennis is dating Drew. Oh yeah, I heard that they was in the club. I heard that they were together, he slid into my DMs per Kelly. Oh, he bought me a diamond necklace or bracelet per Britt. And then also, oh, well, he reached out to me to work on a project per Shamia. So it was like, y'all also help contribute to this storyline when it comes to bringing Drew and Dennis versus bringing the real storyline, which is Portia and Simon. We have to focus on that. Everybody needs to lock in, okay? Lock in, focus. Let's talk about Simon. That's what we need to be right now. We need to be at Portia and Simon Guabadia. Okay? We got to get there. We don't want to hear about Drew and Dennis. I'm telling you, at episode 8, I'm tired of talking about it. I think that Shamia is a really good friend. I think that taking Portia to the strip club for drinks just to, have her to kind of loosen up, because I'm pretty sure, as somebody who's been divorced before, that can be very tense and a tense time. And I love going to the strip club, so I would have probably just been like, yes, thank you for taking me, especially if the wings are good. I think that Simon loves attention just as much as Portia, so that's why she's getting that karma back on that end. Like, when Cordell got divorced from Portia, he really didn't say too much. I think he had like a little scene with Peter. Like, after they got divorced, he ain't really said too much. He ain't really talking about it too much. But again, it's more, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So you got yourself into this, and unfortunately, these are the consequences. I don't think that anybody smeared Portia's name. I think Portia smeared herself. Like, you did this to yourself, girl. And we just, if you would have won big like Shamia, everybody would have just shut up and moved on. But you're not. So yeah, you're a little bit smeared because of the way that you went about getting this man. Drew crossing the line with Dennis is wrong. All right? Her not communicating with Portia about her intentions of working with Dennis on this album, it's not right. But there is no honor amongst thieves. What I'm trying to say about the thieves is really liars. Drew likes to lie, and so does Portia. Neither one of them I take to be honest women. Okay? I don't think either one of them are honest. So expecting honesty from somebody who is dishonest doesn't make any sense. And Portia uses the wrong word when she says loyalty, because she was willing to throw Dennis away when she got with Simon. It was, oh, well, I'm going to do this spinoff reality TV show, and I'm going to bring Dennis down here, and I'm going to fight my daughter's grandmother. I'm going to attempt to put my hands on her, in addition to trying to put your hands on Dennis too. Like, you were perfectly okay with that, because it's like, as long as I got Simon, I'm good. And now that has changed. She didn't prioritize the importance of Pilar having her father in her life. I don't think she was trying to replace Dennis with Simon, but I think that it was more like, well, this is our new family. I think that Drew doesn't respect Portia, so I think that's the reason why she really didn't extend herself concerning anything business related. I mean, Portia kind of dropped the ball on all of her jobs when she decided she was going to be with Simon. Oh, I'm quitting the show. Pampered by Portia. I'm not going to be doing a whole bunch of go naked hair stuff. My focus is on my family and being a real housewife. And so I think that Drew trying to actually generate income for herself, for her children, for her family, I think that the hustle is different. Not Portia got to hustle again, but Drew was in hustle mode, and her divorce is different and worse than the situation with Portia. Portia calling Kelly Kel was major shade. Shamia, I'm gonna post a little video. Nene was talking about, well, she got a little voice on her. Hands down, one of my favorite episodes in Real Housewives history. That Puerto Rico episode with Claudia Jordan and Demetria McKinney. And oh my goodness, that season was just, it was wonderful. I can appreciate Shamia inviting Kelly early to say, you know what, I felt uncomfortable having a conversation about Portia being my best friend about her affairs. And if you have any issues or have any questions, direct those questions to Portia, because I don't want to be involved. I thought it was very adult of her to do that. And she didn't say at any point in time to talk about it at the party. I'm probably sure that she did not want that to be done at her party. But, Kelly was, feeling a little, I guess, offended by it. But I think that ultimately she was just saying, listen, ask your questions directly to the person that you're talking about. I don't know nothing about Charles Oakley being an NBA legend. And I actually need to look it up. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. He's not in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. And if he is, then cool. He is, a shit talker for sure. I just think that so far, I think that Angela and Charles, I think they have a grown and sexy relationship. I think that whatever they have going on in their marriage is good for them. I think they pretty much probably joke on each other all day long, or he's the funny one. And having dealt with somebody that's extremely funny in a relationship, like sometimes it's okay, because it's like you make me laugh and you make yourself laugh over, just silly stuff. And I think that that's kind of the situation with Angela and Charles. I thought the violinist on stilts at the party was just so fabulous. It reminded me of when Tyler Perry did that movie, Diary of a Black Woman, and there were these angels that were hanging up from the ceiling. Oh my God, that was like so beautiful. And so to see these violinists on stilts and in all white, I just thought it was just so luxurious. Cynthia has not invested into herself as a friend of the show. I think that Cynthia is trying to depend on Bravo to do things for her, but we've seen friends of the show still bring it. Okay, Marlo Hampton, for one, always made sure she looked on point with her style. Tanya also. Ascale. Kiarna, when she was a friend of the show, also made sure that her fashions were on point. I don't see fashion. The hair is not looking great. I don't like it. I just think that it's not a good look for her. Kenya started the season with positivity. She asked about Britt's ring for clarification. We all know what Kenya's shade can actually look like, and I didn't think that was shade. I think that she was trying to get clarification of, are you married? Is this your second marriage? What is the, she was just trying to figure out what that was about. But they had already started talking about divorces. Portia's, Kenya's, Drew's, Kelly, all of them were divorced, and it was kind of like round the table, and then it gets to Britt, and it was like, oh, okay, well, you don't have a band around your finger. And, you know, we know what that all symbolizes, so I think that Kenya was just confused and just wanted to verify. I didn't see it as a big deal. I think that the fact that Shamea keeps her focus on God, her family, that's how she's able to move along when it comes to like friendships, especially with Portia. Reminds me a lot of one of my line sisters. I don't think that Shamea does not realize that Portia is a bad friend. I think that she's just like, I'm just gonna be the best friend that I can be, and I'm gonna accept Portia for who she is. I had to have this conversation before with a person. I was like, yeah, you know, you are my best friend. You're not my very best friend. You know people for a long period of time. It doesn't equate to the closeness that you can have with a relationship. Britt got upset about Kenya not giving her a hug. I just think that Britt just wanted to be offended. Like, she is delusional. Truly delusional. But Kenya was the same way when she came into Atlanta Housewives. And I'm going to show a footage in this clip here to remind you of how Kenya was first season when it came to Portia. Because Portia did a charity event and she invited Kenya. And she recognized her, and she said the wrong thing. Like, oh, she's Miss USA. She's actually she was Miss America. Actually, don't know. It doesn't really matter to me. But Kenya got very offended by it when it was an honest mistake, you know?
I just want to announce that we do have Kenya Moore here. Miss America 1993.
Miss USA.
What was it?
Miss USA.
Miss USA. I'm sorry. We have Miss USA here. And she's here just to help us bring the awareness as well.
This woman who I just met the other day who asked me to come to her event.
Portia was being dismissive. It's just kind of like, girl, that's the number one question that everybody's going to have. Like, just answer the question. But not even answer the question. Just own it. Own it and move on. And I think that Shamea going to Drew, because in being a good friend, it's let me get the heat off of Portia and let's turn it on Drew. And in that way, Shamea was being a good friend to Portia, because it was like, well, yeah, let me go ahead and get this storyline going for Portia instead of the storyline that everybody really wants to see when it comes to Portia.